What's up, guys? Welcome to the Scrappy podcast. Here with the one and only Kimo Miranda, Kumu Hula,
How's it? How's it? Aloha.
Kumu Hula extraordinaire. Um,
I like this sound.
I know I told you to rate me with an introduction. You never sent me an introduction.
Shoot, I did it. No, 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 I got it. I got it. Or next session, I'll have one.
Right on, right on. Cool, man. How you doing? How's it? How's
I'm
it been?
doing good. I'm doing good. We just celebrated, as you know, we celebrated our first year as opening hello and as Kumu. So we're actually really happy that we decided to do it in the same year. We were
Yeah,
thinking about taking a longer break, but we're like, nah, just after we already had plans to open hello. We made a year in July, our graduation, and then we just made a year opening the hello in October this month. Yeah,
right on.
it's good. It's been overwhelming actually. Our first year has been a lot. It's been pretty tough, really
Yeah.
pretty tough.
How's it been
But
for
it's
you
been.
though? What do you mean by tough?
Uh,
What is
I
something
think. Well,
future
mm,
Kumuhulas can expect in their first
I
year, you
think
know?
the biggest thing for me was I think there's a different type of anxiety that comes with the responsibility to kuleana of teaching in general, right? You could be a teacher, professor, but I think halal specifically is so much different, right? Because you're building a whole new family.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the responsibility has been really I've been anxious about because when you're a Haumana for a student for maybe almost 20 years, it's like
Holy
you
smokes.
just wait for your kumu to make all the decisions. You have to go through your kumu for this. Kumu has to say yes. Kumu has to say no. And so now that you're the kumu or I'm the kumu, it's like, oh man, I gotta make a decision. And the first year was hard because students would have all these questions for you. I'm just like, I had all to ask. You're just like, oh wait, stop. I have to have answers for these people, for these
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
And to go piggyback on that, then me and my fellow Kumus have to standardize a lot of things to answer those questions because even though I think I have the answer, it may not reflect my fellow Kumu. So there's definitely a lot of responsibility that's very heavy for sure on my shoulders this year.
When did you start dancing hula? What
Well,
year?
I started dancing hula in school for Navihi, and so most native schools are introduced to hula. So I say introduced to hula, right? But when you say I dance hula, typically that means in the hula community you've chosen a hula or a group. It doesn't have to be a kumu hula, but some people dance for a group,
Yeah, yeah.
like say for university or for a church or for um,
Hmm.
what is it called, international nights and luau's and whatever like that. So we're always I learned how to hula and I love a lot of cultural stuff through Navihi Planning Pool.
Nice.
Um, but I didn't dance hula. I don't even know the year because I didn't have cell phones to document everything back then.
Give us a ballpark.
Um, I think I was definitely a preteen, so I was around 12 to 13, I think, dancing for Johnny Ho for about a year
It's
or
funny.
two. I
It's
forget.
funny. It's
And
funny.
then I
It's funny
joined.
you say preteen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even though I was already 6 something, 6 feet something
Yeah.
during then. Um, but yeah, but then I joined my Kumu Hula Paul Nevis, Kumu Hula Nui Paul Nevis shortly after those 2 years with General Holt.
What year was
Yeah.
that?
Shoot.
Before high school, during
I want to
intermediate.
say about let's see, 11, 2003 to 4 maybe. Around, I want to say around there because it was quite a while. Been with my current Kumu for many, many years.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so for a long time.
Yeah, was that 22 years?
Hmm. Around
20,
there, yeah.
23 years?
Yeah. And for sure, obviously before that, we had 3 events a year for hula for school. So
Yeah.
we're forced, but encouraged to hula during those times as well. Yeah.
Okay. So Wow, you put in 20 years to become a Kumu Hula.
Around there, yeah, yeah. It's a lot, you know. Honestly, I don't really feel like it's been 20 years considering you only dedicated the ending portion of your hooliganship towards becoming a Kumu. Because back then you're just a Hamana, you're just a student who wants to learn cultural stuff. So um yeah, but to take it more seriously was like half of that time in the halal. You actually really take it very seriously to want to eventually take on the Juliana to teach.
Yeah. Damn. Damn, you're a Kumu Hula at 33, man. Or
Yeah.
at
Actually,
32, 32.
I'm 31, so I'm
Oh,
turning 32.
yeah,
How old
yeah.
are
Oh,
you?
even,
One
even
year older,
younger.
right?
No, I'm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 1 year younger,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So that's also been a challenge in itself, being this young. We have a lot of I always think to myself, I feel like if I was older, like my kumu, people would give us more respect, but that's also not a good excuse to look at certain behavior from Hamana, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, teaching we obviously started with like I think 3 or 4 students our first month or two, and then we've actually exploded with membership only after we got our social media kind of grounded. And after that, it's been Hamana after Hamana. And our KP class has been probably the biggest class so far, which is
Nice.
almost always a given. Yeah, always a given with a lot of Hamana.
So you guys not having problems with membership right now?
We actually, no, no, we're not. We're not. We obviously want more students, but the house that we use or that is provided for us from our student, um, it's getting our garage is actually getting kind of stuffed in there with some of the classes. So we want to make sure that each class is a little bit stuffed in there to kind of get a good ballpark about teaching. Because if it rains and stuff, it's hard to expand the class outside the grass the weather permits, you know. So definitely want a good number and eventually find another spot that's just ours that's a little bit bigger.
Yeah. And then your guys halal is a little bit different too because you guys got three Kumu Hulas running it.
Yes, yes,
Tell me
it
about
was
that.
definitely orchestrated from our Kumu Kumu Paunevis. Well, we when we're all friends, we're all
Right.
friends. I lived 3 houses down from my Kumu, which you know,
Yeah.
and my hula brother is his son, and my other hula brother is one of our his classmates. So you know, he and Kumu are classmates, 1 year older, and that was my brother's classmate. So we are all friends from the beginning, and I'm he. And then, you know, as we stuck with it, we just because we had background in language and they had in music, and I excelled a lot in my leadership with Mekumu. And he basically suggested to us many years ago. So he orchestrated this and planned for this quite a while to have us three together one time. And that's almost never heard of in our hula community because kumus are usually singular or they are one kumu, but they marry another dancer. So they kind of help eventually teach. But typically, it's only one kumu. And so it's definitely unconventional. I think there's some kumus that have two, but yeah, three is almost never heard of.
I like how you use the word unconventional. Yeah, it very is
Yeah,
unconventional.
right. Because now they're gonna have to call all three of our names for every single thing, which is kind of funny. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's good having I think for me having male kumu is definitely needed in our hula community. I think because a lot of it's dominated by female dancers, uh which is great, but we still need our kind back in the fold, especially for you know this kind of special time in Hawaii
that's actually
with
a
a lot
really
of
good tagline
protesting.
right there. We need our Kane
Yeah.
back.
No, yeah, yeah.
We need,
Makiboya oy.
yeah,
Yeah.
we need our Kane
Just
back.
ever we want you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so definitely we want to actually our kind of classes is the smallest class right now, which is the funniest thing. We have 1 or 2 males right now and the rest are females. Well, we have a few keiki kane, but we don't really consider them men until much later on.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
you're listening to this, any kanes out there listening to the Scrappy podcast, we would love some hula dancers if you live in Hilo.
yeah, that'd be awesome. Can't wait to the Oahu one. I tried over a lot online. Cannot, man.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
It's hard for
annoying.
anyone, you know.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm like in person kind of person to practice and stuff like that. So
Yeah, especially cultural things. You should have them in person, you know.
yeah, cool. Well, you're talking about anxiety earlier, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Let's dive into a little bit of like the mental health, man. What do you
Yeah, for sure. I think that the anxiety comes from again kulyana, which means you have to have these students under you, which
yeah.
means you got to worry about their well-being, their spiritual warfare, their
Mm,
all their questions, how to discipline them. Because even though we like to think that everybody's disciplined the same, it's not, right? It's
yeah.
not. For instance, I have my best friend Kaipuni Rose Ghoul. You're out there, what's up? He's my classmate since third grade, and he's my student, but he's also one of my best friends. So I definitely wouldn't talk to him a certain way. And because he's one of the smartest men I know, he's an engineer, um, and he's very intellectual. So I won't treat him like a keiki or treat him like a new student, considering he knows Hawaiian and he knows hula background, from Navihi. Then there's newer students who just joined off the boat. They've um, sailed here or they flew on a plane to Hawaii and they go to school and everything's new to them. So that's when you have to shift that teaching, and it can take a toll because then you have to really explain the culture from scratch to somebody, which is also hard, which is really really hard because sometimes culture doesn't make sense. How come we can't talk while elders are talking? How come we can't do this? How come we can't just do whatever we
Mm,
want? And explaining that is like, hey, when I talk, you don't talk back to me. Even though I'm only like 2, 3 years older, right? Again, like with my Kumu, I knew him when he already had gray hair, so I understood that when you talk to an elder, you have some sort of respect. So when we were young, and sometimes I look at me and some of my students, and it's really hard because then you cannot play friend, you cannot sugarcoat a lot of things, and it has to be more stern, and that can take a toll because you don't want to be the bad guy, you don't want to be very harsh with certain things, but the more I teach culture, it has to be very stern or very harsh at times.
yeah.
Or else the message just doesn't get across as well. And our Kupuna class is such a blessing because we all have, except for one, I think, all of them actually no, all of them had previous experience with hula, so they understood halal culture. They understood Kumu versus Haumana. They understand, a lot of the concepts of Hawaiian language and culture. So you don't have to beat a dead horse. But with older students, then the respect is even harder. It's even harder to get respect from older students. And that's just natural. That's natural depending on any profession that you go in. So yeah, and then the anxiety is like for me, be for many years, very insecure about a lot of things, the way we look, and my kumu taught us very much to like how to stage things. And there's a lot of details that go into hula and into
Yeah.
halal specifically. That the
Yeah.
details, if we don't look at the details, then people miss the whole big picture. Um, and so getting people on board with your vision, with not just mine, but the Kumukinohe and Kunamaku's vision is also a challenge because we have to get a vision first, then get like 40 people on board with one vision that may or may not make sense to them.
Wow.
So yeah, there's definitely a balance between being creative, but creative enough to where it excites the students and it makes them want to do things, right? Because there's a difference between just producing something because Kumu said versus trying our best to encourage our students. Because this is their walk, this is basically their journey, their hula journey, and we want to make it as pleasant as possible. So another anxiety that comes from it is definitely like, I don't know, I don't know how to say it. Maybe understanding that just because Kumu was that way with me doesn't mean I have to be that way with my students.
Right.
And the longer I teach, after this year, the more I understand, like actually, my Kumu was right. You know, a lot of things I gave my Kumu more grace. The more I teach because I'm like, oh, now I see why Kumu was like this. I see why, you know, they have this mindset. I understand why, Kumu sometimes yells all the time, right? Um, and so that anxiety turning into something that I never really like in general. Like, for instance, I tell my students, me personally, I don't like speaking for my other two Kumus, but um, I always bring this up in class. I don't want to become like a yelling robot. That's like our theme, right? This year is like, hey, help me to help you guys to not freak out, to not get amped about little things, right? So part of that is really teaching first. Hey, when I say this, I expect this. Because if I don't say it and I just expect new students who don't understand culture and then you yell at them and then they just leave, right? So that's not good teaching anyway, I think. And then
Yeah.
sometimes you have to because sometimes people don't understand that, yeah, it doesn't matter what you want, it's what Kumu wants. And so definitely finding a balance like that is can be kind of heavy on our pool vice, on our hearts for sure. So yeah, there's a lot there. You can't just really just teach hula. There's so much things that go into it that we have to take everything into consideration. And such at a young age, it's like, oh my God, it can be overwhelming for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the part where the if you don't get the details right, you'll miss the big picture.
Yeah. Yeah. So
You know,
like for instance, we
but
had
just thinking
hapu
about that
making.
gives
Oh,
me an anxiety attack, though.
right? Doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Because you think of like a party or like an event, it looks like you just got to do five things, but there's so many deeper things in there, like the catering, the food, equipment, chairs, tables, tents. So like all the little details, we try our best to take care of as much as we can, way ahead of time. Um, yeah, so that's always good. And then just kind of seeing where we fall short as Kumus. Like if I'm not really good at certain something, then I either have to get another person to kind of help me with that, or like I don't really sing. I'm not the best singer. I can chant very decently, but I don't really sing a lot of falsetto or I want the music, so I need help with that kind of aspects of it, which where my other kumuhulas come in. So that can be kind of an anxiety or insecurity for sure that it may seem like something that I can do, but I just try not to sweat it too much because we all have different kuleana. And as long as you're playing your kuleana really well, then that's the best we can hope for.
right on. Yeah, no. Yeah, because your Nikki last year, that was awesome.
Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
You were definitely a big help.
yeah, that was amazing. So men's mental health. Um, we both been talking to therapists, huh? Or at least I know I am.
Yes, yes, I've definitely been going back to therapy after Reiki for sure, just to kind of settle some things in my mind.
Yeah, I know I've been solid for three. Well, I've had three appointments so far. Um, it's nice just to talk to someone that's, not a friend or connected to me in some way, shape, or form, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
How does therapy help you with your hula or with your kumu ship
um, I think it's
or just life in general? I mean, you can just talk about
oh
life,
yeah.
life in
I
general.
think to piggyback what I said before about the kuleana that teaching has a toll on a lot of instructors.
Yeah.
I think because we have a therapist or student understand why they feel a certain way. If they throw tantrums,
Bridget.
and a lot of times no one's there to like ask how I'm doing, So therapy
Yeah.
for me, it's just nice for like, how are you doing? I'm like, well, if someone's really asking me, um, but you don't just do that to your students. You don't just unload all that personal pilikia onto them
Right.
for a lot of reasons. So we try to do it with amongst ourselves, amongst us three kumus. But again, they have a lot of strong suits, and sometimes being a therapist isn't really be one of them. So it's nice to have a third party just to kind of talk to and or someone just to kind of ask me certain questions that I wouldn't ask myself and to kind of dig deep into why I feel certain things and yeah. Or sometimes, as men, as con especially in hula, we're asked to do a lot, We're asked to like set up everything, you gotta be there early, you gotta be the most of the hula. There's a lot of, um extra things or different things that we take care of. And, a lot of that means that we gotta push away a lot of emotions or thoughts and feelings towards certain things and just kind of deal with it later. And we get up to the point where it's just easy to kind of let it go and just forget about it. And that's not the healthiest thing to do. So
Yeah,
therapy for sure helps me just kind of like self-maintenance, emotional maintenance.
I like that. I like that. Self maintenance, emotional maintenance,
Hmm. Yeah.
emotional. What's that one meme? Emotional damage.
Oh yeah. I love that guy. Guy's funny.
But yeah,
How about you? How's therapy been helping you with all your endeavors, especially with your podcast?
it's
The sun is like in my eye
it's
right now.
curious. Um, just one friend asked me, what do you expect me to get out of it? And I was like, that's a good question. Uh,
Hmm.
because like in my head, I think, okay, I should talk to a therapist because I might be crazy or something. Uh, that's kind of like how
Right, right,
I
right.
think about it, right? And and so when I thought about that, I was like, shit, I don't even know what I need to get out of it. I just need a sounding board, someone to talk to
Hmm.
that's not connected to my family and might lend an ear and may understand what I'm going through.
Right.
And things got 10 more minutes. Gotta upgrade to pro. Um, but yeah, it's in the third meeting so far. Um, it's really about me. Therapy is really about just me. It's like
Right.
no,
Yeah.
no, it's like that. I got 30 minutes just about me. And it's kind of cool. It's like and
You
just
get attention,
yeah, I get attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she listens and she's cute.
Hmm.
It's like in my head. So like
Hmm.
I'm talking to a cute therapist. It helped, and um so I think it just allows me to express myself, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
in a safe space.
Yeah, I think of like a lot of mothers. That's why I think like okay, I'll go for women because I'm thinking about I'm talking to our KTs, right? It's just nice having a therapist to be like, hey, what's wrong? Like how our mothers used to talk to us, and then you just tell your mom everything, right? Because there's no boundaries with your mom at a certain age. So
Yeah.
just having that back is pretty cool as an adult, you know?
See, that kind of stuff I've never had with my parents, express myself to my parents. Like
Oh yeah,
there,
yeah, I feel you.
there was no like having conversations about girls or,
Hmm.
how, for the most part growing up, I don't remember my parents ever asking me how was my day.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? How was school? I don't remember that.
Right.
So that's actually a good point. I just realized that. Bring
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
If you're listening to this, talk to your kids.
yeah, like not that they didn't care for me or anything like that. It doesn't mean anything. But thinking about it now, well, maybe just the way I express myself through
So
some things.
what is your manao on? Because as men, the last thing we want to do is go to therapy, and I think therapy is so stigmatized in the male community where it's like there's something wrong with you, right? Which is not at all true, and sometimes it is. Sometimes it is true,
Yeah,
right? That's sometimes why it's designed like that in a certain way. So let's not kid ourselves. There's definitely reasons why men should definitely go to therapy. But what are your thoughts between a therapist versus like just a bro talking to a bro? what's the benefits, what's the difference, and why pay for therapy when sometimes we think we can just get free therapy from our friends.
Okay, I do have someone on this because my gym buddy Hank, we've been having conversations like me and you, so it's kind of funny, because we're just on the treadmill the other day. We're talking about how women are they just it's never enough for women. You can do all the things, but it's never enough. They're never
Right.
satisfied. So we're just going back and forth about that. Uh, but I think having a paid therapist, one is just it's neutral.
Right. Yeah.
It's a sounding board. Um, it's and they're also what do you call that? Um, what's the word am I looking for? They're official. They've studied human
Mm.
behavior. They're
Credentials. They have
credentials.
credentials.
Yeah, they have credentials.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
can um they can assign strategies to help you uh get through what you need to do, or assign
Right.
drugs or whatnot, and just depending on what you want with them. But for the most part, they have credentials, and it's credentials, neutral, and can assign strategies and drugs. I think with the bro, it's I think the biggest thing is just camaraderie that I think I get out of it. Camaraderie, and most times you're
Hmm.
like, yeah, 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 that's right.
You want the validation, right?
Yeah, the validation, and
Yeah.
it's I think it's what they call it when you only hear one side of the story.
Tunnel vision. Tunnel vision.
Not tunnel vision, but
Oh, biased.
bias. No, they use that other word when
Gaslight.
not gaslight. Uh, can't really think of it right now. But it's around exactly the words you said about tunnel vision. It's just you just hear one side because me and him are agreeing, and
Right.
it might not necessarily be the truth, or it might not be
Hmm.
totally accurate. Because I got open with the therapist about a couple of the yelling matches I had with mom and dad, and she's like, well, now
Hmm.
what do you think about the yelling? And versus my buddy, he just laughed because he's like he knows and he's done that before.
Right. Right.
He
Right.
wasn't trying to ask me, oh, was there a better way to do that? My
Mm.
therapist is like, she's like, oh, was there a better approach we could have done, Loa'a? That kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
So
'Cause there's a different. I think with your bro, it's easier. I think we just call that venting. We don't really call it therapy. We call that
yeah,
venting.
venting. Yeah, venting,
And then therapy is more like you work on more solutions to kind of figure things out.
Yes, 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 yes. I agree with
Yeah.
that a lot. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
one is solution oriented. The other one might, the bro might be solution oriented, but for the most part,
Right.
it's a therapy in itself, right? That you have, someone that enjoys, whether you guys be hiking, just on the phone, or in the gym, and talking
Right.
about things that are on your chest, just catching up on life because, there's so much things that happen a week, day.
Hmm.
It's good, to have someone that is willing to hold space for you and
Right.
hear these
Yeah.
things. And it makes life sweet, for that. So,
I beg a question with a lot of people who use their bros as therapists.
yeah.
Would you look at them differently if they said the exact same thing as your therapist? Wouldn't we look at them differently after that? If they just constantly gave us solutions to things when we just wanted someone to hear us out. So I
No,
always
that
think
I
that it's
think,
good to have both, right?
yeah,
Because if sometimes if your bro starts to be like, "Oh, well, you shouldn't be yelling," which is true, right? You shouldn't be yelling at your
yeah,
mom, whatever.
yeah,
The advice can be sound, but because sometimes I guess you expect just for someone just to hear you out instead of giving you that critical
well,
feedback.
well,
But with someone who's paid, you're like, well, I pay you to give me feedback, so I expect the feedback, you know?
right, right, right. Thank you. Oh, crap. Thank you. Bye, mom. Uh,
Hi, D.
so yeah, she's gonna work.
Yeah.
Emotional damage. No, just joking.
Emotional damage.
But yeah, right. Yeah, you were saying.
No, no, yeah. So I'm saying it's nice to have both best of both worlds for men because we need both someone who we can just vent to without the judgment, and then we need someone with the judgment because we got to change, you know?
Well, I think we have that kind of relationship, you know.
For sure. I think so
Yeah,
too. Yeah. I don't think
yeah.
I've been
Like
really,
I hardly ever
but we
give
give each other feedback
advice.
all the time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
for
for
it
sure. Of
too sometimes. So it's like
course. Yeah.
I think, I think it's, I think it's, in a relationship because I value you, right? Like, um, it's it's good to also coach each other too. I mean,
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's if I ain't trying to fucking help you get better, in your life, what's the fucking point of being friends? You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
true.
you
I
know
think
what I
that's
mean?
very
Like,
true.
you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, yeah, here, I'll listen to your bullshit, and then they're like, okay, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Right. No,
you
yeah,
know.
for sure.
But for me and you, right, I would say we're very intelligent, but we also come from Christian background and the types
Hmm.
of ways that we used to sit down and talk to each other. It's telling
Especially
us you
through
got less
ministry.
than a minute on this thing. They might just shut off, but
Okay.
I think it's good to have those kinds of relationships. Um, but it's also like we're both like smart, so it helps us to navigate and help each other. So it's especially, not I don't think everyone has this opportunity, but I think the
Right.
more that we talk about it, friends can open up more and talk to each other and help each other out because friendship nowadays is kind of weird,
Right.
that's
Right.
actually a whole nother topic. Friendship. What is
Right.
friends? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
I like what you said that yeah, I think it's because of our specific friendship, how it started. I think